Hi guys, my name is Zin and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to work on this Ficus Benjamina, and this is a root over rock, but I repotted it twice because I was never satisfied with how the root looked on the rock, and really I would consider this as one of my failures of the tree. It's not that it's not healthy, it's just that the roots over rock part, like the roots just, they weren't that good, and I wasn't sure if that's because that's just the way it is. You know, the ficus, they grow the bulbous roots, and there's not much you can do about it except you can try to cut them or something. But they just never looked right when I expose them. When I repot this, I repot this twice, and the first time the roots wasn't great, so I kind of trimmed the roots. I basically had a huge pruning on the roots, and that's on video. And then I repotted it, and then the second time, which I don't think it was on video, I was looking at the roots and they were just still just not that good. You know, I don't know, maybe my expectation is off. Maybe the rock is too small. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but the tree has obviously grown a lot bigger. When I started this, the tree was probably just like this size, just a cutting, a tiny cutting. So yeah, I don't really know what the problem is. Maybe the rock is too small. Maybe the shape of the rock is not that good. But I was never happy with how the root looked. So I had to trim the roots and I kind of regrow them. I didn't have any problems growing the roots around the rock. That just happened naturally without any issues. So today I'm just going to prune this back and get it into shape. But as far as the roots on the rock, it's only been in there for a few months, probably not too long. So I'm not going to do anything with that. But depending on how it looks the next time, I think I might either change the rock, or I don't know, maybe get a second opinion or something. I just I'm not sure what it is that I don't like about it. But every time I see it, I'm not happy with it. So anyway, I'm going to prune the tree, and it is what it is. So here's our tree, and I'll spin it around so you can see the tree from all angles, more of a 3D look to it. So it has grown quite a bit. I haven't really touched this for a while, and so like I said, yeah, the roots on the rock, they just don't look good. I don't know why, but I have a feeling it's because the rock is too small. When I started the tree was quite small. And everyone tells me, especially Nigel, that the rock doesn't grow, the tree does, and it sure does. So maybe that's the problem. And today I'm going to make the tree a lot smaller, obviously, because it's overgrown. And hopefully, if I can make this a smaller tree, maybe it will look better. The tree isn't that big right now. It's probably just maybe a foot tall at most. So we'll get to the pruning. I think the front that I had was over here, where you can kind of see most of the branches in the tree. None of the stuff is coming towards us. And then this will be the main leader, even though the back one is kind of strong, so it's, so where do we start? So let's start with some of the obvious branches, like this bottom one here. I don't need this. And then there's some inside branches you can see they're kind of crossing. So we'll get rid of those. There's one above it where it's over here, but I think that's okay. Yeah, this is a better view here. This is probably okay, even though it's kind of, well, it's okay, I think. I do want to reduce the height of the tree by quite a bit. And, this main leader, I'm thinking of taking it back all the way here, but, we'll see. But for now, there's this crossing branch here, which I can take off. This one's coming inside. So if I do take it back to this branch. Let me take this leaf off. If I do take it back here, I think it will be okay. And then I'll have to fix the ones in the back. But there's still this straight section without any kind of movement, but I don't know if I could do anything about that. Yeah, I don't really see any leaf nodes. There might be some nodes over here, but you know, it's going to be a, if I prune all the way to the wood, there's no branches or leaves. So it may die back, knowing it's a Benjamina, it might not grow at all. So that's a risk. So I think for now, I'm going to just going to take it all the way to here. So my goal is to make this tree a lot smaller. And, you know, this is the leader. So I'm going to start with the leader. So if I do this, then this becomes kind of a fanning out branch, which is fine. I want this tree to be short and kind of fanning out. So we'll do that. This is a huge cut here. There it goes. I'll leave that stub there. Just, you know, make sure that it does not die back. Now, the back branch obviously is too tall. Even though it doesn't look that bad, maybe I can rotate it like this. I mean, this could also be a possible front as well, but you know, I'm thinking of taking a lot off the tree, so I'm not sure. Yeah. Anyway, for now, I'm going to take this low branch off. This is just a bit too low, too horizontal. Don't need it. Get rid of that. And then the back branch for now, I'm just going to cut it back and then I'll fix what I need to fix later on, but this is too tall, so we'll get rid of that for now. This one here, yeah, I think I have to take that off. Because I don't think my tree would be that short. So, you know, I mean, I can take all these back to the first branch. This will still be kind of too low, I think. Well, maybe I'll leave that for now and I'll decide later on. That's probably a better idea. Okay, so I see this problem, this kind of there's like 3 branches that's kind of parallel to each other. It looks really strange. My initial thought was to take this branch off because it has kind of a weird growth pattern. You know, this is coming out as straight. There's a node here, and then I pruned it here, but then 2 branches came from that direction, nothing on this side. So it's kind of going in a really strange direction. It's almost going into the tree, but it's just, you know, it's a bit low. I don't really like it. So I am prepared to do Jurassic cuts, so I think that's gonna be one of them. I'm just gonna take this right off. Oh, here we go. So that's gone. Let me try to fix this up. Yeah, it's a big ugly scar, but I have to do what I have to do. it'll heal in time. And supposedly that's the back of the tree, so it should be okay. I actually think it looks better on this view a bit, you know. Instead of here, I come here. We'll kind of get rid of that parallel branching type of problem that I had there. Okay, so let me just look at the tree a bit and see where we should go next. All right, I looked at the tree a bit, and what I don't like right now is this branch here. It's a bit too thick compared to my main leader, and you know, I don't see that many solutions, because if I cut it back here, I would probably wire this towards that direction more, towards the back, so that it flows better. But let me just do that for now, and then we'll see how it looks. So if this was going back there, it will look okay. Actually, it's not too bad, but I still think that branch is really thick. This is the front now, but maybe I could change it to somewhere around there. That could come off. Also, I was thinking about this tiny branch back here. It's thin, which is good. I could actually take it all the way back here. Actually, I think that the node there, I could actually take it back here. You know, I'll cut that off and, you know, pray that something will bud from there. That's another option. But I was actually kind of prepared to cut it all the way back to here, and then I can wire this up a bit so it's not so horizontal, and I think that'll be okay. And you get some taper between here and there. That would work. But for now, yeah, I don't, you know, this direction has to change if this was gonna stay. Let me just clean some old cuts up. Like, this isn't bad for a primary branch structure. I mean, this stray section I don't really like, but I don't think I could do anything about it now, unless I take a big risk and, you know, cut it and hope for something to bud out. Yeah, it's not bad. If that was to go that way, right? It's okay. But I mainly don't like the thickness of it. It's just a little too thick. So I think what we'll try is I'm going to take it off to the next leaf bud there, and we'll see. Because the worst case scenario, I can go back to this branch. I can push this up, wire it a bit, so then you can go towards the ideal direction. Actually, the direction of it's probably okay, but just not as horizontal. That will be my backup plan. And that's just my personal preference. You know, I think a lot of people would just keep this because it's not that bad of a branch. It's actually decent. But I don't like how thick it is and how straight it is. Because this tree, you know, I imagine this is probably as tall as it's going to go. I don't want it any taller. So I'm going to go back, take a risk here, and just cut it back here and see what happens. If nothing comes out of over here, I'm hoping towards this direction, then I'm going to cut it. I'm just going to use this. I'll push this up, and it'll be fine, I think. But it would be ideal if something came out of here. For this branch, I'm just going to take it right off here, so I can have this horizontal branch here. I could do without it, but I think with it, I mean, at least for now, it doesn't look bad. It serves like, you know, gives something over there. Now for the tall leader, let's see if I need to take this back a bit or not. I could take it all the way back here, and then I would slightly wire this up so that it grows more up and not horizontal. But what I'm really hoping is something will kind of back bud somewhere around this area, so I could develop those branches and get rid of this huge straight section. Let me just see how this looks. Yeah, I think I'm going to get rid of this, and I'll kind of push this up a bit. Doesn't need to go by that much, but right now it's a bit horizontal. I just, you know, make it go up a little bit so that it can be of a more, you know, probably somewhere around there. Just a bit. And I do hope there's some back buds over here as well. I need to take this back at least a little bit so that the vigor doesn't go all the way to that branch. And this lower branch, it could stay for now. It could go as well, you know, I could see the tree structure really well without it. It will work either way. But I think where this is coming out, it's an odd place. I don't know, what do you think? If I leave it to grow, would this ever work? You know, if this gets thicker as a branch. There is a possibility I could just take the whole thing off and then have this as a side branch on that one side. So for now, I think what I'll do, I'll leave that branch for now. I'm not even going to prune it, so it can get a bit more energy. Actually, no, I should just prune it a little bit. Get rid of the tip. I'm just going to let this grow and see what happens. And like I said, every time I look at the roots, I'm just very unhappy with it. But now the tree is a lot smaller, and it's going to get bigger, you know, in the summer. But we'll see where it goes. I'm really hoping for back budding so we can get more branches, so I can actually lower the trunk more, and hopefully remove this straight section. But for now, I'm going to leave it like this. This is the original front, but I don't like this kind of, the two branches being parallel, which is why I was thinking, going back all the way to this branch. But I could rotate this a bit to somewhere, either there, anything in between there would look better, I think. But for now, that's fine. So yeah, that's how I'm going to do for this tree. Um, I'm still not sure what the problem with the roots is every time I look at it, but next time I'm going to, I'll repot it and then you guys can look at it and maybe you can tell me what's what. But yeah, I don't know. So that's it for this tree. Let me take you around and I'll give you an update on the rest of the stuff. So this update is going to be about the plant room. Everything is doing well. I just wanted to show you what some of the plants look like at this time of the year. And it has been a quite warm winter so far, although it's just started snowing outside. Okay, so this is the tree that we pruned at Nigel's place, and you can see the all the new growth coming out now, which is fantastic. I was putting this down with an anchor, which is actually my my phone stand. It's quite heavy, so I use it to pull it down. But I think it's at an angle now that's much lower than before already, and I don't think I need to lower it anymore because the rest of these aren't that low. I was thinking maybe putting this down just a little bit to get that widespread, but it's not really necessary. But yes, so that I'm going to remove this. I think this is fine. Here all the wires are still on this Benjamina. It's a variegated Benjamina. I'm still pulling it. I think I'm going to leave these on because I have the the, what do you call those tubes, so they shouldn't scar, I don't think. So I think I'll leave those on probably till spring, maybe. And everything here is doing well. This is the forest crown of thorns. It's getting some yellow leaves, but I think that just happens all the time for this tree. It's not really a big problem. And then there's some new growth where I pruned. It's all coming out. Not really the best lighting that this tree is in, so that could be part of it too. Let's move this a bit so we can get better lighting. And this is the bougainvillea, which it grows like this every winter. Just really long shoots, which I eventually have to prune back. Not really expecting much in the winter because I don't have that good lighting. These are the Scheffleras. Both are actually doing quite well, for indoors at least. This is my other ficus. I removed the wires. This is the leader, the new leader. Hopefully it's gonna grow better. I kind of took a little bit off here so I can send more energy to the top. This one's getting a bit thicker than I want. That's why I kind of took that step to reduce the vigor. There's a branch down here, which is a kind of a weird branch. Probably remove it eventually. So here, this is the sarcocalyx you saw before. This happens. This is the second winter, I think. And this kind of growth happens every time indoors due to the lack of lighting. It just, everything kind of reaches up towards the light. It's all going towards one direction. It's obviously, it doesn't look that good, right? That's kind of a dry thing at the top. That's because it actually reached the light and it gets kind of burnt, I guess, by the light. I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to prune this all the way back in the summer. Not in the summer, in the spring, so they can regrow. But this is just what happens. I can't do much until I get a better light. And I am thinking of upgrading. I don't know if this winter or not, but my goal for my money right now is the mortgage, and we will finish that very soon. In a couple of years, it'll be done. And I'm thinking of either upgrading then, or maybe I might upgrade before. It's not like I'm not like super tight on money. I'm just trying to not waste it. That's all. Not that as a waste, buying lights. Anyway, let's move on. This is the BRT that we pruned last week. That was the branch that was kind of flat. I wired it up. There's just a little bit of wire, very thin wire. All I need is for the direction to go up. I don't really need anything else. So just very light wiring. That's all I need. So I'm not doing anything more than what I need. So yeah, as you can see, the leaves are down because of the lack of light. It's been quite dark most days this winter, so that kind of sucks. This guy here is the variegated, what do you call it, dwarf jade, Persicaria afra, that's right. I have it in here all the time, and this container stays more humid than the outside environment because, you know, there's a bit of water on the bottom, not too much, just like a thin layer. So there's moisture in here, and this gets light from the my artificial lighting every day. So it actually is quite healthy. The leaves are big, but it's growing quite nicely. And compare that, you know, to something that's outside where it doesn't get as much light. This is a cutting, and this thing, you know, you can see the elongated growth plus the large size leaves, but it's basically the same species but not variegated. This was a cutting that I just put in here. I think eventually I can wire this down and make this semi-cascade or something. But yeah, I gotta put this up. And I noticed a lot of leaf drop from this cutting here, most likely due to the lack of light. So yeah, light is a problem in this house, that's for sure, or at least in this room. So so that's the one we just pruned. It's much before it was like this big. Now it's much smaller. And this is the Natal plum, growing quite well by the windowsill here. And I imagine this as either a cascade or a semi-cascade. It just doesn't grow that many branches. It's kind of hard to structure this. Plus it's in a tiny pot, so you know, it doesn't grow that fast. So moving on to this guy, this is it's a little ivy. I'm not exactly sure what ivy it was, but it's a dwarf ivy. It's, you know, tiny leaves. I'm sure it's not gonna grow that fast, but I thought it was cool, so, you know, I'm keeping that for sure. This is my regular ivy. I don't know what, English ivy, I guess. And then it too kind of has a, what do you call it? Maybe a cascade style to it. Even though these are wild vines, it's going to cascade anyway. I just noticed there's this weird twisty on the trunk, two trunks. So I'll have to probably get rid of one of them. Yeah, it was just a cutting. I don't really have that much plans for this, but you know, I'll just let it grow and see what happens. This is the $50 bonsai. It's about, I would say, 2 feet tall now. Like this thing just grows like crazy indoors. I'm actually kind of surprised. There is a lower branch out here, which I'm quite happy about. I hope that stays on. And then you can see there's like buds coming out at the bottom. This is obviously too tall. I'm not sure if you can wire these. I mean, I'm sure you can wire them, but I don't know what will happen because the leaves, you know, when you touch them, they kind of, everything just reacts. So I'm not sure what the result of wiring is, but eventually this, I think the whole top I'll probably take off because there's growth at the bottom, but definitely not now because I don't have that much lights in here. The windowsill doesn't do that good of a job because you can see that everything is facing that way. I have to spin this every now and then so that it doesn't grow towards one direction. But the health of the tree looks really good, you know. I'm surprised it's gotten this big in such a tiny pot. I'm not exactly sure what the rules of the challenge is, but I intend to repot this eventually because this pot is, you know, kind of way too small, especially for such a big tree. This is the not really that much update for this, what do you call it, willow leaf ficus. It does this for the second winter in a row where the leaves just doesn't kind of come out due to the lack of light. And last year when I brought this outside, all the buds just exploded, and I think all the leaves will kind of explode when the spring comes in a couple months. So I still do need to water it, but it doesn't really do anything in the winter. So here we have the jade that we pruned the nitrous place. I am getting new buds here. There's new growth here. These are all new at the top, at the tip here. And then this came out here, which is a nice spot. I was hoping for some stuff around, you know, this area too, but so far nothing yet. There is this little thing coming out there, and that's because I think there was either I don't know, some kind of damaged bark, so it's coming out there. I'm thinking maybe I should kind of, you know, damage the trunk a little bit on the side so the branch can hopefully grow. I don't know if that's gonna work, but it has worked for some of the stuff, and I was told that it would, you know, if you damage the trunk, there's a chance that something will sprout. So yeah, so that's nice. This is a really good spot, but I was hoping for more, but you know, I'll take what I can get. Now let's take a look at the what do you call it? Hibiscus. This is the fire and ice. So it is growing towards the bottom, obviously not as vigorous as the top. You know, there's lots of branches, and I do see new leaves. I see the extension there, so it is growing definitely. And then, but the top, you can see it's growing with more, a lot of new leaves. All these really fleshy green ones, versus this old dark green leaf. Right, you can definitely tell what's new and what's not. And I actually just took off a couple leaves here because the new leaves are so big that they block the light to the bottom. So I decided to cut a couple off so there's at least more light coming in. And I'm trying to like position this towards the window, hope for more light. And then this top here, it's coming out nicely. Actually, this I probably don't need. I'll probably get rid of. But you know, the top looks okay. So yeah, everything is doing good. That's the other hibiscus. I saw some insects. I don't know what, I think it's just like such those small flies, which I don't have that much of a problem with. However, I did see some webbing or whatever on here, so I sprayed it with soap and water. And you know, I let it stay on for about 10 minutes and I washed it off, and it looks okay right now. I just did that a few days ago. So that is all the update for the indoor stuff. And everything in the garage is also doing well, no changes. So yeah, that's all for this week, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.